welcome to Spirit Boost with me, Tim, and Coco the dog. How do you cope in hard times? Well, it's great to be back in the beautiful British summertime weather. Oh, how I've missed this. I wonder when things don't quite go to plan, when life goes a bit pear-shaped. How do you cope? Can you still be positive? Can you still look up and celebrate and be full of joy and happiness? Because if we're honest, if you're like me, when things go wrong, your first instinct is to be a bit down, be a bit negative, be a little bit gutted, be disappointed that it hasn't worked out how you wanted, maybe mope around a bit, moan a bit, oh it's so unfair. Even as a Christian, you can look at those Bible stories and verses of other people who moaned, like Jonah and Elijah a bit. Oh, it's all right, they moaned, they were a bit grumpy. God doesn't mind me being like this, he wants me to come as I am. I was reading this little book called Habakkuk. I always wish I'd called one of my kids that, with a surname Cook. Habakkuk Cook would certainly have stood out from the crowd. But he writes, you know what, even when things are tough, even when there is no food to eat. You know, he was writing in, thank you Coco, pulling me over, as always, such an obedient dog. Good to see she's learnt nothing. He was writing in a culture that was very based on farming. So for them, it was disaster when there was no olives, when there was no crops, when there was no sheep to eat, no cows to eat because they'd all died out. He says even though there's nothing, it's disaster, everything's gone wrong, yet I will still praise God. I'll still rejoice. He is my security, my safety, my trust is in Him. So when your life goes a bit Pete-tong and everything starts to go downhill, when the things you'd hoped for, you prayed for, you longed for, don't work out, when in fact things seem to get worse, not better, despite how much you're praying, let's lift our eyes off those circumstances. Let's be like Habakkuk, the legend, and focus on God. Let's choose to rejoice. Let's choose to be positive. Let's choose to celebrate who God is, what He's done in our lives. Because actually, when we put it in an eternal perspective like He did all those thousands of years ago, it makes you realise what's truly important. It's not that job promotion, it's not that relationship that maybe is struggling. And I'm not going to say that's not difficult, of course it is, but compared to having a relationship with God, knowing your security in Him, knowing that you're His child, that you've been adopted, that He loves you, that He cares for you, and that He has died on the cross to forgive you, gives you all those reasons to celebrate, to be happy, to rejoice, which is how Christians around the world today, despite terrible persecution and suffering, can still rejoice, because they're not focusing on the here and now, they're focusing on that eternal perspective of their Creator. So today, let's be those people who choose not to look at the circumstances that bring us down, but choose to look at God Himself and rejoice in who He is and how much He loves us. As always, if I can pray for you, please send me a message and like, comment, share this message, and I'll see you next week. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, hit like, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Facebook. And if you want to get more involved in our work reaching out to young people across the UK and Europe, then you can support us by going to give.net or asking us a question below.